Hey guys, so we're going to go to chapter 3 on our study of England, the Golden Age. And today we're going to talk about the Civil War. And think about it for just a second. What does the word Civil War mean? It means it's fighting in a country. So this is going to be fighting in England among two groups in the country England, okay? So the United States, we had that in the 1800s between the North and the South. So there's going to be two groups that are going to be fighting amongst each other in England, and we're going to learn about that in just a minute. Okay, but I want you to think about this question. This is the question that you're going to have to answer at the end of our recovery on chapter 3. Why did Parliament distrust Charles and his wife Henrietta? Here's after Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth lived to be nearly 70 years old. It was a long life for someone in the 1500s, and for someone whom so many people had wanted to kill. The legend is that as she lay dying, she whispered to the Archbishop of Canterbury the name of her successor to the throne. Now, guys, remember, Queen Elizabeth never married and never had any children. Okay? And remember, we're going to look back at the timeline. Got Queen Elizabeth. She never had any children, and all her brothers and sisters had passed. So where's she going to go? She's actually going to go over here to um, James, to King James. Okay. Whom do you think she would have for her next ruler? She named her closest relative, James Stuart, the son of her great enemy, Mary, Queen of Scots. Unlike her mother, however, James the Sixth of Scotland was a Protestant. In England, he was called James the First. King James. I want you to read the section about King James. So guys, did you see where they were talking about the King James Version of the Bible? You may hear that today because that's still a Bible that lots of churches use as the King James Version of the Bible. King James died in 1625 and his son Charles took the throne. We're going to talk about trouble all around. So Charles was a weak, sickly child. He did not walk until he was 7 years old, and like his father James and Queen Elizabeth the first before him, he believed that he had been chosen by God to rule. Unlike Elizabeth, however, Charles did not understand that he needed the support of people to stay on the throne. Charles was devoted to the Church of England, but he chose Henrietta Maria, the Catholic daughter of the King of France, as his wife. As monarchs did back then, Charles married to form an alliance with another powerful country. The idea was that if the king married a French princess, the two countries would be um, less likely to go to war together. And I'm looking back at my timeline because Catherine, I believe that she was from Spain, married King Henry VIII. And King Henry thought the same thing. We can join these two countries together by marriage and be more powerful and keep them from plotting against us or coming to war with us. The French Catholic princess brought a large group of priests and other French Catholics to wait on her. When some members of the English government found out, they were furious. Within a year, King Charles was forced to send a bishop, 29 priests, and 410 of the Queen's attendants back to France. The King or Queen of England was the head of the Church of England, unlike the Catholic Church, whose head was the Pope. Now, remember, we talked previous lessons about King Henry VIII. He broke from the Catholic Church because they would not annul his marriage. So England was still under the Church of England, which was headed by the King or Queen of England. The Church of England, however, still kept many of the rituals of the Catholic Church in its church services. So we have seen some Protestants, such as the Separatans and Puritans, did not like this. By now, the Puritans had become a more powerful group. In fact, many of the men in the English Parliament were Puritans or agreed with Puritan ideas. In Scotland, which was also part of Charles' kingdom, Protestants who wanted to remove Catholic influences from the Church of England were called Presbyterians. Puritans and Presbyterians were suspicious of Charles, his Catholic wife, and their love of rituals and symbols. Okay, guys, now I want you to read the part about a prayer, book, and a civil war. And I want you to think if you can pinpoint in this reading where the Civil War actually starts. What starts that? Okay, so pause the video and I want you to read it and see if you can figure out where that Civil War starts, or why it starts, excuse me. Okay, think for just a second about why it started. Okay, this is kind of what triggered that Civil War. King Charles ordered Presbyterians in Scotland to start using a prayer book based on the one used in the Church of England. It angered a lot of people. This is what started the Civil War. Now, there was two sides of the Civil War. There were the Roundheads and the Cavaliers. Okay? Like most Civil War, this one was painful and confusing. Families were divided, with some members supporting the king and others supporting the parliament. Some were loyal to the king even though they thought he was at fault. In general, nobles who had country estates supported the king. Many of the people who worked on these estates supported the king as well, either out of loyalty to their landowners or because they were afraid to take another position. The royalists who supported the king were also called cavaliers, come from the Spanish word which means horsemen or cavalry. Talk about cavaliers. They were given this name by those opposing them. The people shouted "Cavalier" at the well-dressed, aggressive young nobles who strutted in the streets of London. Today, we might describe someone who seems arrogant and thoughtless as cavalier. That's a word we still use today. Most people who live in London and other large towns supported Parliament. These people were known as Roundheads because they favored the short, simple haircuts of Puritans. Soldiers on both sides lived in crowded, dirty conditions that allowed the spread of deadly diseases. These diseases sometimes spread to nearby towns and killed people who were not even fighting in the war. Soldiers also demanded taxes, food, and livestock from the village that they marched through on their way to battle. All in all, the war brought suffering to everyone, even those who tried to stay out of it. By the end, about 1 in 5 of England had been killed by the war or by diseases that it brought. So those diseases killed people just as much as the war did. Now I want you to think about the question that I asked you at the beginning. Why did Parliament distrust Charles and his wife Henrietta? Okay, this is the question that I want you to think about, and I want you to answer that on my Google form that I have in your Google Classroom.